My teaching style. Well, it's always been something that's difficult for me to put into any specific box because every single class brings something new, even with the same kids. Some days the kids have a lot more energy than others. And I think the most important element to me in learning is, or the two most important elements are curiosity and having fun. Because I know for me, when I'm having fun as I learn, that's when I hang on to it. That's when I really have the depth of learning that I want. And that's when it sort of becomes part of who I am and not just something that goes in one ear and out the other. So that element of fun is so important to me. And of course you do have to balance. You have those classes where we'll be having so much fun that it starts to derail what we're trying to do. And that requires a little bit of reeling in and calming down and refocusing. And then you have others where you've got to really add more energy into the class and give the students permission to let loose a little bit and have fun. Because that was what I was raised with. What was the goal was to make us love to learn, because learning really is fun. The point isn't that we learn and it's work and it's hard and it's this thing we just have to do and then we get to go and do other fun things. But the learning itself is such a privilege and such a joy if we can approach it that way, which is really what I love to bring into my classes with my students. That element of curiosity really requires for us to be okay with making mistakes, and to sort of accept that as part of the learning process. That of course we're gonna ask things or say things or do things that might not be lined up with what we think of as correct, but all of those things are really contributing to our learning process, and so that's really integrated and really necessary as we learn. And getting students comfortable then allows them to have fun. So making learning fun, which is what I'm all about, um, it's, I think, the first thing, kind of tying into that idea of being okay with making mistakes and maybe even renaming them. Are they mistakes? No, they're just part of the learning process. But it's about not taking stuff too seriously and just being okay with the process. How is it fun? Because we're okay with it. We're okay with whatever we need to go through in order to understand. A lot of laughter is sort of my goal. Just to be able to laugh at ourselves even is so wonderful, and I think it's so good for us to just don't take it seriously. It's all good. We're learning together, and we will learn if we're not so attached to the outcome, and we're just more immersing ourselves in the process of that learning, and the joy that is. I would so love to go visit one or many of the blue zones. And the blue zones, for those of you who don't know, they're areas in the world where there is just a wild number of centenarians, people who live to 100 or older, and compared to the rest of the world, so many, so much so that people have studied it to try to figure out what are they doing that's allowing them to live this long. And when I first started learning about these zones and the way the people are living and their perspectives on life, it sort of, weirdly enough, felt like home. I mean, it felt just so right. And I would love to be able to go to one of those places, or all of them, and experience what that's like firsthand, and maybe hopefully absorb some of it and bring it back and make it part of my life. So that would be my choice.
If you have any questions, feel free to click the message button just to the left and ask away. We are always happy to help parents and caregivers find the perfect fit for their learners.